This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, this is Coffee Compiler Club here today to talk about bad AI tricks and simple updates and everything related to compilers and language implementations and runtimes. No set agenda. Everyone's recorded. Go on YouTube in a couple hours when I get to it, whenever. Um, that's the opening spiel. I'm done. Um, I'm going to throw out a little life experience. I've got a lung scarring from when I was a kid from asthma. It hasn't really bugged me in 40, 50 years. Lit up with a sinus infection and local allergies and something, something, something. And so, the last 2 weeks I've seen four doctors. And yesterday I got an X-ray and saw another doctor and got a lab test and went to the guy who got pharmacy, and my wife's knee surgery is going slow, and we finally saw her surgeon yesterday and got an x-ray on her yesterday and went and picked up something for her and whatever. So last couple days to last yesterday, especially yesterday was all day at the hospital. Okay, that's how my life goes. Um, I'm working on simple in the spare time. I'm really enjoying working at Hashgraph. I've doubled the speed of their interpreter, and there's probably another doubling and this is no jitting. There'll be a jitting once the other background crap things get removed. It'll be worth jitting. Right now, it's not worth jitting because there's too much low-hanging fruit just lying around.
They must be very happy with you.
I'm
Double
sorry?
already? They
You're
must
very
be
quiet.
very happy with you with double already.
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. There's no question. Oh, and now, Cameron, your AI has completely came back. You had like 5 seconds of your mouth just being completely wiped out. The fog on that, it's like time to upgrade. I don't know what that one is. Fine.
That happens when you cover your mouth. Like that's how the
Oh,
system
really?
decides to, yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Which
that
is a
seems
little weird.
very,
Like it could just not do that. But then I
right,
guess
very,
then his
right.
mouth would be frozen.
People do things all the time with whatever. I eat, I drink, cover me
Yeah.
in.
Well, yeah. The weird thing is if he drinks, you won't see the cup. So you just see like a hand come up and then it'll just blur.
Wow.
And nice t-shirt, by the way.
Oh,
It-
thank you.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
has to be mine.
Oh, it's finally warming up. I might be able to wear a Coffee Compiler Club t-shirt. I haven't worn one in, I don't know, 6 months. It's still too cold, but it's getting close. All right, Levo, you had a demo.
Yes, and I would need to
Oh,
share
and
my
you need to hit the
screen.
share button. Yes, I will hit the share button. Go.
All right. Okay, so is the font size good for you guys? And is my microphone clear?
You're a little quiet, and your font size is great for me.
I'm not sure how to adjust this to make myself louder, but is this
Well,
any
I'll just
better?
keep turning up my end, and then other people will shout. It's all good.
Uh, how about other people besides Cliff?
If no one complains, you're okay.
Yeah,
I can
it
hear you.
seems fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'll try to make this short. I might have to stop questions until the end, but feel free to ask them as we go along. And yeah, so basically, I want to talk about how I write C++ because every time I say I like C++, everyone they either look at me weird, their head spins, but the C++ I write is not how most people write C++.
Everyone writes a
So
subset of C++. It's just too big a language.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to start off by saying that the standard library is a piece of junk. And if you look at the time it takes just to compile this hello world, it's more than a second. And this will happen on both GCC and Clang. So let's just run GCC right now. Gonna run it more than once.
Yeah.
And you can see that this is just like, it's literally hello world. So if I just, well, I got to build this.
So you
That's my make system. Don't worry about it. It's not part of
hello
not part.
CCC. Okay.
So this is gonna do hello world in my just using my standard library, which has a lot more than prints. So this is like the time is
Wow, that's
like
like tenfold.
hundreds of milliseconds. Like, and this
So
is
what
this
did you
has like
change?
arrays.
Changed? What did you change?
So basically, I have a predefined macro to say to use mine. So it would be using this instead of this. So that's all I want to. I just want to start with the standard library is a piece of junk, so I
Just the
don't use it
standard
at all.
library change.
Pardon?
You're just changing the standard. Your code is slightly different, but you're basically just changing. Well, one is standard print, one is print.
Yeah, this isn't printf. This is my own prints.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
it's quite a lot in my standard library, but anyway, let's go
Okay.
to main, and so I'll try not to take too long, but I'm just going to basically step through my code. So the font size is like perfectly good for everyone, right?
Right. But
Okay, no.
what's the high level goal here? The high level goal is to show that a better standard library, a faster to link standard library exists. What's the goal?
So I just want to show how differently it is to write C++ in this style versus what people normally do.
Okay.
So
We have two styles of C++, and show us the default one at some point, so I don't know the default one well enough to compare against your version.
That part I have not covered, so you're going to be stuck with just mine because I wanted to keep it short. So anyway, so this is my memory buffer. Like this, I use this like a ton. So this is pretty obvious. No, I have a pre-printer set up so you can actually see the text. So if I just
a memory buffer is essentially a wad of bytes that supports things like print into.
So I don't have to do I don't have to do slice. I could just put the buffer into print and it will just print it. So I also have like this is the clear, just chains it. So I also have a JSON one.
Right.
So it's a bit of a pain in the butt to escape, but let's not worry about that.
Else.
Yeah. So if you just look at buffer over here, if I step into it, you can see that both key and value is escaped, and that's because I figured out that there's a way to tell if it's a literal, like it's not a C, like a C, not a literal like this, but you can basically tell the difference between slices and car pointers and literals. So if it's a literal, I don't escape it. So over here, since I want to,
you robbed screen sharing from Levo, and I don't think you intended to do that. Levo, go grab share back. There you go.
Okay. I didn't do anything, but okay, great.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway,
wait. You're trying to show that. I mean, the JSON guy just reads a string and does something with it, and that's great. But you've done something to say, oh, somewhere we're in a car star and a literal.
Yeah. So let me just jump into this. You can see that. Actually, this is probably not a good place to jump into.
Well, I was going to ask a question like the literal is invariant. You can point to it for all time. It's good. The car star is an array of characters. It has to have a length. And Jim says he didn't do anything either. Yeah, no problem, Jim. It's called a cross-continent network glitch.
Yeah. So basically, my library can tell if you're using a string buffer because this is an array. This is not a car star.
Right.
So it can tell the difference between arrays, car star, and slices. So over here, since I want the key to be escaped, I converted it into a slice. So this is basically whatever parameters you put it into, it'll change into an array, and then we'll call a JSON on every element. I kind of don't want to like mess around with recompiling and stuff because I don't want to accidentally break my demo. But anyway, this is a slice, so this is escaped. So that's how the key 2 is escaped here. And then this is a literal. Values is also escaped, and I'll just go one more time, and you can see that there's a comma at the end. But for valid JSON, you don't really want that. So in my library, you can just pop it.
Yeah.
So
I do that a lot in what I call string builder. SB is my little string builder wrapper, and I have what I call uncar. You said pop. I have an uncar, but it's a for loop, and you add the things in and in comma, and then you uncar the extra comma off the end. Yeah, I think that is a great answer for the common problem. Oh God, that was very quick, Cameron. Hit and run, Cameron.
Yeah, I can't see what you guys are doing. So yeah. So anyway, the pop has a mount is just defaults to 1, and that's
Right. Yeah.
basically the first section. Yeah. So here I just want to show temp print because I haven't seen this in any standard libraries. Do you guys have any idea what temp print does?
Well, no, because you wrote the code, so it's whatever you want it to do. Name names, print. You're doing a lifetime management. You just acknowledge that it's about to get printed and thrown away.
So basically what temp print does is okay, so the buffer so the memory buffer, you could just put whatever you want onto it. So what temp print does is it puts whatever whatever string you want into it. Then it resets the length to the original length to before print. Like the original length is the current
Whatever.
working folder.
Yeah.
So it will append this, put it into a slice, resets the length, and then return the slice. So basically, I can just print a bunch of folders without doing
Right.
resizing.
So it's only valid until the next temp print stomps it.
Yes, yeah. Oh, well, it's any sorts of writes, but
Yeah.
that's
Any
basically
next write
that.
will
Yeah,
stomp it.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
it's simply. Well, actually, this is pretty much. You can read this. This is no problem.
Not a bad answer. It's one of these
Yeah.
things where you're trying to do memory management in C++ by having an API that makes it convenient to have the memory lifetimes be obvious and simple.
Yeah.
It's not
So
language support per se. It's a better API or better library for how the lifetimes should go. It's what I kind of strive to in things I do, but I would love to have language support for this kind of stuff too.
Yeah, so I just want to show about custom data types. I'm gonna probably speed run through most of this, but anyways, custom type, int AB.
Right, does something.
Yeah, so I don't have a pretty printer for this, so it will be very literal and say A equals 5. B.
Same as Java, same thing. Yeah.
Just writing one function overload, you have to put the type on the left and then memory buffer here. Just implementing this will get you all the prints. So you got the printing into the memory buffer. It works with temp print, printing to the standard out and error, which you can see here. I have an S print, which is if you don't want to allocate, it'll just whatever buffer you put into it, it'll just print in there. So there's a print string, which puts into a string. So you get all these printing functionalities just by implementing this.
That's a language level support, right? It's anything, any custom type in your memory buffer, and somebody finds, it's like two string. You're making it two string in C++.
Yeah, but this is like a global function, and then you just have to write an overload for the global function.
So this is C++ will do a global overload resolution.
Yeah,
and then you've hooked.
Well, there's some rules, but it's C++ is crazy rules.
Okay, wait. So you make this global overload. Does the name have to be a particular shape name?
Yeah, it has to be this name. Then it has to be your type on the left, and then memory buffer on the right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's all it is to it.
So right. So if I have that function in 15 different places with different custom types, and I'm missing one, your library can ask the question, does this exist? It does not go to the default version.
No, there's no default version. It's just compile error.
Oh, it's just a compile error. Well, I mean, if you got rid of SSM format, then your m.tempprint would compile error.
Yeah, compile error. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm just wondering what the trade-off is.
Yeah. So what's also interesting is since this is just people used to say plain old data, but now they say trivial type. Since it's trivial, my hash map also works. I don't have to define a single thing. So
Well,
how
those
that
aren't the same
basically,
thing.
pardon?
There are some differences between pod and trivial, but yeah.
Yeah. But when people look at this, they used to say this is plain old data, but nowadays they'll just say trivial. But yeah, well, plain old data is depreciated. So
Okay, I see.
so the reason why this works is because plain old or trivial data, I have a slice byte. So as long as let me see if I can find the template.
You do something funny for hash codes, but I guess you treat it as an array of bytes for hash codes then.
So this might be a little too much text for you guys to see, but basically the constructor, as long as the template is trivial, it's not a raw pointer and not an enum, because I found that if you doing this on enum without being explicit, here's another overload for explicit enums. But I found that enums you'll accidentally do things, but this will mostly only work on ints and structs. So as long as it's like a trivial type that's an int or struct, it will
Structs
convert
have
to
fields, and the fields within the struct have to be ints. They can't be pointers, nested structs, floats,
yeah.
strings.
There's a little bit of a problem with this approach, though, because just because something is trivial doesn't mean that it's all of the bits inside that object are part of its memory, like value representation. So, like, imagine you have a struct that has like a 64-bit integer, a bool, and then another 64-bit integer. There may be alignment requirements on that integer that create some empty padding bits in the middle of that struct. And if you just do a memory check, you're going to compare padding bits, which are not
Yeah,
part of the representation.
GCC actually gave me a false because I did not because it had two different objects with two different padding bits, so I had to explicitly use up the padding bits and set the 0, and then my compare word. So yeah, it does bite you in the butt, but this is so convenient because I don't have to like implement it on every single object.
I would
So
claim that the compiler should fill in the padding bits, because if you're going to write into the line, it's not going to change your cache line. It's not going to have any cycle count difference. You should just fill the padding bits the same thing you're writing into the damn into the
I
HTTP
could show. I have a library called lib that does something maybe similar to what you're looking for. But it does like, so if you have like sub objects, you can automatically get like hashing potentially through. I think I implemented the hash function myself, but if you want to like,
Okay, hang on.
create a
Let's let Leo. You're showing new standard lib has some
yeah,
interesting features for C++.
yeah,
Oh my God. Um, question
yeah.
is,
So
do we get more
I
to
just
go?
want to keep on going.
Yeah. Finish up,
Yeah,
and then let's go open the discussion broad here. Oh, there's your
yeah.
leak go by. I saw it sneak a leak in there.
Yeah, so now this is temp 2. Okay,
Yeah, I thought we
so
got temp 2 working good enough.
actually I could just enable this and then run it so you guys can see it crash. So
If
let's
you write
just show the
Java
crash.
like this, it gets really fast with no GC. It's basically C.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
So
at.
one of the problems that I had in C sharp, and you'll also get this in C++, is sometimes you think you're getting something, but it's actually a clone.
Yes.
Because I thought things were references to an object, and I just got a clone, and I completely broke my code, and it took me quite a while to figure out what was happening. And over here, you can see that basically I get the clone, I get the pointer to it, then it destructs on this line, and then this is just a dangling pointer. And then if you have the address sanitizer on, it'll just complain that it's use after free. That would be right over here.
That's
and
where'd
that's
the free,
bad.
Where'd the free
Pardon?
go?
So since
So O is uninitialized. You call O.get. That looks like
it's
Gainward
not.
already. Why is O
So
not
this is constructed, and then here
Oh, it's
you
because
get
of
a
C.
clone.
Ah, geez. Okay.
Yeah. You get a
Oh, and the
clone right
constructor. Okay,
here.
hang on. I have to read the code slower because I'm not used to reading C++. So,
Yeah.
oh, that's object 2. Show me object 1. You have a class object 2 right
Oh,
above. Go
right.
up a little bit
Right.
more. Okay, so he comes in with a constant size static vector of 1, 2, 3, and you get and return the vector. That makes total sense.
Yeah. So both of these clone. They're the exact same.
Oh, they're both clone?
Yeah. So in my library,
Oh,
I
it's
don't
making
want
a
to
value
accidentally.
object. Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the compiler is tracking the lifetime of the cloned return from object 1, right?
Uh, it's not exactly what's happening. Is it constructs it here.
Uh-huh.
You get the pointer to the internal data, and
Yeah.
then it destructs it, which makes this dangle.
Right.
And then
I get that. I get it.
this is a heap use after free.
Yeah.
However, in my center library, you just get a compiler. So yeah, people don't know you can do this, but basically, let me
Okay.
just see if I can type this.
I mean, this is like weird C++. I'm trying to do lifetime poorly things going on. There's something going on here with C++ where it seems like that's lifetime management
So
is very lacking.
yeah, what people don't seem to know is that you can actually you can put stuff after like the function.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know if you guys say functions or methods, but after the function, you can put and or double and you can just delete one and not the other. So this prevents basically this line is what prevents this from happening. So you can't really. It's a lot tougher if you write to delete there. It's a lot tougher to get a use after free.
So you have an array type which is const, and then you can mutate it. You're returning a t pointer from data, even on the const overload there.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really. Technically, it doesn't matter if it's constant or not. I usually don't write the const. Like you can see it over here. I don't
Right,
write the
but
const.
I mean, you've broken logical constness, right? By doing
Yeah.
that, I mean, technically it compiles, but like you can now mutate a logically const
Well,
object.
is that const on the object or constant on the underlying vector?
It really doesn't matter. I'll just do it again.
Well, no, I mean on the other one, right? Because like if you're just getting data normally, right? So like if you create const my array and you set it to some value, right? You could then just grab its data member and then you start mutating the interior of your logically const object. Right? Like
right. You've thrown away const.
Yeah. So that t star data const and
But can't
return
you
pointer.
just? Isn't this
Yeah.
fixable by having? Yeah, I see Ben saying deep versus shallow, but isn't this just fixable by having duplicates of all these things, one for const and one for not the const?
Yeah, that's how you would do it. You would have t const pointer data const and
Yeah.
then you'd have t pointer data and return pointer.
And I guess the other one is Ben just asked. You're claiming this is deep versus shallow, and you're not distinguishing, or you're going to allow a shallow const or a deep const or not one or whatever. You're missing one of the const.
All I want to show is that you get a compiler instead of this kind of
that I think that's
use
very
of-
useful directly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
And that's
let's go
because,
to.
all right, fine.
I'm close to done, but go ahead.
The constness is best if you tie it to like the equivalency of your equals operator. So if your array object compares equal to based on the content, then the const should propagate to the content. Whereas if it compares based on its address, then you don't need to do that. But like those two things should be the same and consistent.
Yeah. So I want to show. I want to show up arrays and resizes. Like this is, you guys can understand this. Basically, resize the array, check the capacity. You can see that it's been initialized to 0. So here, I'm Okay, good. It skipped. So basically, I have a no int. So basically, I can resize it smaller and then larger, and it will not touch a bunch of data. And because I set the data here, I could do a resize no int, and it will not complain. Like, I mean, now it would not reset the memory.
Right.
So I can access it and get the old data if I want to. But most of the time, if you say you don't want to initialize it, it's because you're planning to initialize it somehow. So
So what's the purpose of having an array that you shrink and then grow again?
oh, this is just an example. I just want to demo that I can when I do a resize, it will initialize data to 0.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
right here,
and you can
initialize
ask for
it to
be
0.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can also say don't initialize it, and then it'll get the old data that I set up. But here I have an object that has a constructor. But if I try to do no int on it, it's going to give me a compiler error because
you have to run
basically
the constructor. It has to initialize.
Yeah. So I use like require statements are so useful. This is a C++ 20 feature. So if I say requires is trivial, and this will only work when it's a trivial type.
What's the other name for Cameron uses this name all the time? It's not mixins, traits or something. Conditional
yeah, they call
conformance.
this concepts and traits.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about. It's not going to happen in simple, but I think AA has something that I can get into that direction. It looks like a useful thing to do. That's an interesting concept.
So I have
you
a
had
string
mentioned
reader.
doing a using like behavior to just import all the things from one thing into another thing.
Type classes all the way. Yeah, maybe, Ben. It might be what I end up with. I mean, I'm not going to call it type classes to start, but if it ends up being semantically type classes, I'll just fall in line there.
Well, this is to guard to so I don't do no initialize or no int on things that require a constructor, because then you get like weird behavior and bugs and all that. So this just prevents this from being called unless it's a trivial type.
It is true. Right.
Yeah. So it's just mostly a guard. But anyway, I want to show this is like almost done. So the stream reader is what I use all the time. As you can guess, it's just loading the file and then it's just printing it. This is the file I showed before. But if I write as data, it'll take the string as literal, and then it's just whatever I put into the string. So this is like a workhorse. Like this and memory buffer are like the two structures I use all the time. They're both very handy. Yeah, and then this was you can also stream. I mean, there's different ways you can stream, but yeah, it's a big implementation, but it works very well. Oh yeah. So some people, they don't like C++ because it allocates all the time, but I could do as data here, and then it'll just instead of allocating, it would just use the buffer, push into it. If it grows too large, it calls in aborts. So or a panic if you guys want.
Right.
So like you got to be careful.
Is that concept meaningfully different than like Java's implements abstract base class?
Another doctor's call. I got to take it.
I don't really know Java, so I have no idea.
Because I feel like these traits are not that different than like I implemented an abstract base class, so I can be passed into all of the functions that take that class.
C# has interfaces, right?
I know one big difference is the require statements. You can put it on a per method or function, so you don't have to. So it doesn't apply to the entire class or the entire templates. So different methods can have different trait requirements.
Okay.
This is also purely a compile time construct. There is no runtime resolution or dispatch going on, while both C# interface and Java abstract-based classes do involve runtime dispatch.
Yeah.
Accomplishing that at compile time, just cloning the function for every type that gets passed in?
It won't even compile if the requires clause is not satisfied. So it's more of a filter rather than a duplicator.
Yeah, C++ monomorphizes everything. So yeah, it's it's kind of different, but I can't tell if Cliff is back, but
I'm
okay, yeah,
back.
okay.
I mean, another doctor's
So
call about whatever, but it's easy.
yeah, and then the last thing I want to show is I can easily execute processes like this is yeah, user bin echo. I'm just going to show the outputs. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I compare the output. I don't print it. My older version printed it.
Yeah,
But
no
anyway,
worries.
you can check. This would return the standard out. This returns the status. Like that's why the ending is different. This is like a pain in the butt, which I have a file descriptor watcher that I use with this to do things, but generally you don't want to use this. What you want to do is instead use execute and wait, and then you can pass into the standard in, the standard out, and error. And for cats, it'll just print out the
But on
text.
the execute and wait, he is going to read all of out and error into your memory buffer.
Yeah. So
Part of this API.
it
Yeah.
takes
Okay.
it requires a memory buffer, and you can initialize this so it will output to a file if it's large. But if you don't give it a file descriptor, it
Yeah.
just puts everything in memory.
Yeah.
There's like lots of ways you can customize this.
I've been playing with this kind of API for simple here. I haven't gotten as far as you have, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of constructors, or actually half a dozen, but yeah. Uh, anyway, you can pass it a null reader. I actually I couldn't decide on the interfaces. I have two. Uh, one you pass in a buffer, and then the other one it just returns data. I
Go back to
don't
your
know.
use case. So don't know the implementation. So in the ones we're looking here, you have a null reader in means that it has no input, I'm guessing, to GCC there,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the main difference is uh, actually, I gotta look at the implementation actually, but it's a large implementation. That's like out of scope. But like sometimes you have a buffer and you want to put data into it, and
Yeah.
sometimes you just want to get the data and you don't want to hold on to it. So if it doesn't want to give you a buffer, and it wants to give you a pointer, then sometimes it's better. So in this case, this will give me a null, like a slice to empty. Um, yeah. So this will, return an empty slice because I guess the implementation I came up with didn't require. I think I was trying to do, send file where it does a file descriptor to file descriptor write. And I just figured that I don't want to hold on to a buffer, so I'd rather just get a slice. And that's why it has the style instead of, the style which you pass in a buffer.
So
But
go back to your, not the implementation, go back to the how you use it. See, you're very, very much you're trying to implement Perl in C++. Which is not
uh,
true, but like a better, more convenient way to do, I mean, not systems level, what do you want to call it? You're firing off and dealing with processes back to back to back, and then grabbing their standard ins and standard outs, and you're going to be able to grab for passes and fails and errors and whatever and go on. This is like what people used to use Perl for.
yeah,
This is
it's
C++
handy
for
when you.
instead. Yeah, which
It's
as far as
handy
I'm concerned is
sometimes.
fine.
There's a wait error as well, but most of the time I just use out in status if I'm just waiting on a script. But yeah, but basically this is the end of the demo. There's nothing else left. Like I don't know how much you guys were paying attention to the watch window, but pretty much everything was pre-printed. Just because like
Yeah.
I implemented pretty printer for my standard, and then everything uses it, so it was very easy to. So it's very easy to debug because everything's pre-printed. So I'm
Pretty
sticking to the
printing in the
standard.
debugger is really nice. Some years ago, you mentioned to me something about I was really good with the debugger, and I was like, no, I just do the normal things, but you gotta help it along here. And like, yeah, pretty printers for the debugger are nice.
Yeah.
It's a
So
good thing.
actually, maybe I can do. Actually, if I just delete everything,
God,
I have
you
a
want to
backup,
install
so I'm not
Python?
worried.
Let me show you more recommendations.
So without the pretty printer, it's just like,
Right.
let me see if I can, like,
Oh,
this is
doing a
all
compiler
garbage.
IR without a pretty printer is like almost hopeless. You have so much semantic meaning tied up in how the pretty printer interprets things and then presents them. It's just a huge difference.
Like, I don't want to see the array length, the log, the position, if I'm keeping the white space. I just
Right. Now go back to with
want,
the pretty printer and look at it again.
yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Right. And then if I care, I want to have a way to turn it on and off. It's one of
Yeah.
the Java IDEs will let you turn on and off your pretty printer, but and of course you can screw up the pretty printer by having your pretty printer break, not be tolerant to having half busted data structures, so it does null pointer exceptions on itself and
or
runs off the
where
unit.
two string has a side effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you know what? I didn't mention this, but
Still, it's super nice.
so
Java IDE uses toString? Yes. Oh, some of the UI elements do too. This has been in the chat. Because I've certainly had toStrings have bugs in them. Like they're recursively calling print on reachable nodes in a cycle graph, so I stack overflow in the toString. And that causes the debugger all kinds of fits.
yeah.
Yeah, it's also weird if you put a breakpoint in your two string.
Oh, these days the IntelliJ will complain at you and then ignore the
It's
breakpoint.
but it like incessantly complaining. Like,
Yes,
thank you.
Successfully. And it
I
wipes
skipped your
out
breakpoint.
that line with that breakpoint is wiped out with this long error message. There was a breakpoint I'm ignoring again and again. And I want to see what it got before it died. And I can't get there until I wave my mouse over the error and it goes away and it shows me how far it got before it died.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's some way to like force it for a debugging session. Like, I want to continue to look at this field as an object, not as its toString. But like, I've been dealing with that lately. It's like, no, I'm not interested in toString for now. Like normally, yes,
really?
but right now, no. Yeah, well, like I'm
session,
debugging a data
session.
structure. Like I don't. Yeah, the session or a specific variable in that session, something like that.
Right. I have to right
just like,
click, say, oh, you can in IntelliJ you can mute a class. I mean, mute.
I guess it
turn
hasn't
off
annoyed me enough yet that I haven't yet dug for how to do it. It's like, oh, this will be the last bug I have, so I won't need to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're done now. You don't have to fiddle with anymore.
The key is to change the toString just for the length of your debugging session, forget to put it back, and then cause a production outage when suddenly you've changed the toString, and that changes production behavior in some weird part of the system that you didn't know was parsing logs.
So when you guys were talking about toString, I showed the string, the JSON format string.
Yeah.
I forgot what that function was called.
So how does time format know you're talking about milliseconds versus nanos? You got a U64 and time format. What's the chosen unit?
So this is always nano.
Nano. Okay.
Yeah.
I would go with millis, and then say you have to ask for nanos because they're so fragile.
My gets time is nanos, so I just stuck with it.
Yeah, nanos are kind of fragile. Like
sleep is default to vanilla.
Actually, what you take the rest of the universe's common sleep is in millis, right?
Yeah.
In the land of least whatever you call it, weirdness budget. I would think that most people, at least for me, it's always millis, unless I know I'm doing some very high precision timing. And nanos have the issue that they're fragile. They roll backwards and forwards in different CPUs. They get hit with thermal throttling. They get turned on and off or whatever. And so they're unreliable, and I have to only use them in small places where I'm very careful with them. So I don't make them
you need to move. Well, you have moved to Macs, right? Thermal throttling, like that's so like 2000.
I've not moved,
2020.
No, I moved back away from a Mac. I cannot code on a Mac. I tried for 3 months to get all the keys to do something sensible, and I never. I never could.
It's just Apple Silicon, like throttling is like. I mean, I guess maybe it's starting to become an issue again, but I've enjoyed the last however many years I've been on that. It's like I just have consistent performance.
That's
and
nice.
no fan noise.
That's
I
nice.
absolutely love the keybinds on macOS. Command C for copy, Command V for paste. It doesn't matter if I'm in a terminal. It doesn't matter if I'm in Firefox. It doesn't matter if I'm in text
The
editor.
only thing
It's
that
the
matters is
same.
muscle memory. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
exactly.
same everywhere. I love it because it's like you're in a terminal, right? It's like Control A to go to the start of the line, and then Control E to go to the end of the line.
Okay,
And then
Ryan.
on Windows,
Ryan.
that's like select
Ryan.
all.
Whoa. So Mark had it right. It's muscle memory. Your task, your goal for learning exercise this next month is switch once a day between coding on a Mac, coding on Linux that's not a Mac, like an X thing, and coding on Windows. Every day, change, do a whole day in the new key layout, and see what you think
it's
about muscle
horrific.
memory.
Well, I see on I have to do that even if I'm using Linux, like, because it's like, okay, I'm in the terminal now. Control C is an interrupt. If I'm in a text editor, it's copy, and it's like you're even on Linux, you're just constantly swapping back and forth depending on if you're in the terminal or not. On macOS, it's like Control A always does the same
Well,
thing.
when I get on
It
Linux,
doesn't
I
matter.
hack the terminal so it's Emacs keys. And then the terminal's Emacs keys and Emacs is Emacs keys. And that part's all easy. And then I get on a Mac and then
Do you use
it's
Emacs to read your mail?
I don't. I have a mail reader. I could. I have in the
Yes, right.
past.
Yeah, it's like I know people that just like Emacs. That's
Yeah,
everything. Like,
it's the operating system.
what do you
That's
have
right.
a UI for? I have Emacs.
Yeah,
So
I'm not that far along.
one of my
There's hope for you.
long-term ambitions is to make a Linux distribution, which is gonna use the Mac keybinds. I will like at some
I
point
am
I will like
sure
rip
that
out all
exists.
of no,
Yeah.
it doesn't. I looked.
There's Linux distributions that try to look and feel like Mac OS. There's no way they don't have the key bindings. There has to be just a key binding you can apply, but there is definitely distributions out there that go out of the way to look like Mac OS.
Yeah, like
to read
elementary OS, but they
Ben's
still
comment in
do.
the chat.
They still
What are you
use
doing?
this
I'm playing
stupid
Doom
Windows.
in Emacs.
I am like 100% an advocate of Linux switching to Mac OS keybinds instead of Windows keybinds because Windows keybinds are stupid. Frankly, Mac OS is
The
much
things
better.
that you said about the keybinds, whatever was going on with me and Mac, those are the normal keybinds I would get. The head of line, end of line. I didn't get them on a Mac, and I couldn't make my fingers do the thing. And for one thing, I don't use caps lock on a normal keyboard except as a control. I never have caps lock. Like caps lock is like, what the hell you want caps lock for? So I don't have caps lock at all. And then when I go to a Mac keyboard, that means I have to switch like Option and Alt and Command or something. One of them has to switch, and immediately everything else breaks from that.
It's horrible. Like you could switch. Like when I switched to Mac OS, which was like I don't even know 20 years ago.
Right.
Like I went all in, and so after a month or two, like
Yeah.
muscle memory changed. But if I was switching back and forth like daily or weekly, I would have just been a mess. Like,
Right. Well, that's what I tried, and it did not. My muscle memory did not switch. I'm not as young as I used to be, but
there was
wasn't going.
a similar thing happened when the iPhone and iPads and tablets and smartphones came out, and we all got used to like kind of the natural scrolling on a tablet. Like you scroll up by pushing up, but then you go to use your trackpad or your mouse wheel, and back then it was the opposite direction. So then Mac pretty early on switched the computers to scroll like the iPads, which was great. But then there was holdouts that like forever, like, no, I will always scroll backwards. Which I imagine, like, is Windows still and scroll backwards?
Yes, the first day I get a Mac, the first thing I do
correct
is turn
answer
the scrolling
is-
the right direction.
If you touched the mouse, you lost. So it doesn't matter what the mouse does, you're not touching it. And then once I touch the mouse, whatever. Now I don't care.
No web for you, huh?
Oh, anyhow.
I'm assuming I'm still sharing my screen.
You
Did anyone
are.
have
So
any
finish
questions?
up and let's unshare and we can let somebody else take over.
Oh no, I was done a while ago. I just wanted to know if anyone had questions before I ended.
It was fun. Yeah. I'll agree that a fresh thought of what the standard lib programming would look like for C++ maybe is in order. I'm sure it's been done some before.
Such less of a pain of a butt.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So good
and
now.
bunch of things you did, I've done for Java for the same exact reason. Like the whole pop character for me, uncar. Like, why isn't string builder do that? And then string builder in Java is 12 characters long and dot append. And of course, you're concatenating shit all the time, and you don't have any language support for operators. So it's dot append, dot append, dot append, three of them, and you're off the end of the screen. So for me, it's one letter P, dot P, parens, thing, dot, print, dot P, dot P, dot P, dot P.
I
And
hit
then
enter.
uncar to get rid of the extras when you have a for loop that just iterates. I like that one as well. Short names, fine.
To some extent, different languages have different cultures.
I'm gonna whack your share here. Well, you whack it, and I'll because you'll be faster at me than me trying to kill
I
it.
found that when I programmed in Java, people were very consistent in their styles and the stuff they were doing across, and you could move developers from one Java project to the other project, and they could just read the code.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a language before Java where like the language itself tried to define the naming style and formatting conventions.
So I compare that to I've worked in Clojure, which is a Lisp. And I have found that in the Lisp community, it tended to be much nicer things to work with. And when you would read, it was very business logic-y because people had built up a whole bunch of infrastructure tooling that enabled you to write your business logic in this nice way. But if you ever brought someone new onto the project, they had to spend 4 weeks memorizing the dictionary to be like, wait, none of the functions that you call in any of your functions are anything I've ever heard of before.
Yeah.
Because you essentially invented and implemented an entire language and then wrote your app in that language.
Yeah, you wrote a DSL. Then you wrote an app in the DSL.
And Lisp was just very, let me build all of the nouns and verbs of my business logic language and then write those. And it made it very difficult to move people on and off of projects, but you could be a lot more productive within a project once you were up to speed.
Yeah, once you learned the specific language for
And I found
your
Java was
project.
the opposite, that you could get to sort of full speed in Java in a code base you didn't recognize pretty quickly. And then you didn't get much better after that because having 10 years of experience in the code base, like, I don't know. I
like
feel like there's a
Perl.
trade-off there of how much do we want to write code for expert developers who are living and breathing that code base. And we really want to get high productivity out of them and ability to change things quickly and massage things quickly and react to changing
Campbell and
business
Jane
needs quickly.
Street, right?
Versus to what extent do we want this static thing that can sit idle for 10 years between touches and someone can just come in and make a tweak and get out.
You're arguing that there's a question.
I'm arguing that
gonna...
switching the standard library, implementing a standard library that enables you to write your application well and then writing in that has a huge advantage for the project, but has a huge cost in the ability for projects to sit idle and have developers jump in and make a change and jump out. And it's very good if you're deep in it and is kind of costly if you're just sort of glancing off of it.
Oh, and Ben, you could say it out loud if you want to do the audio. It's fine. He's saying there's no such thing as a standard library. It's a fair thing. Like what Levo did, I approve of most of what I saw there. As I've done the same thing. It's just like, oh, this is a really better way to write this. Why isn't all standard libraries like this way? And now here comes the Java standard library, which misses some things, but is wholly, hugely well made for average developers, right? And that's your question, isn't it? It's like, here we have a standard library that's built for the massive average programmers. Okay. And then the massive average programmers piled in, they do some good stuff. And then over here, we have these little islands or domains where somebody said, here is a better way to deal with the things that we do, on a daily basis. And then having built this better way, we now use it ourselves. And why isn't everyone else doing this?
What I actually liked in my library is you don't have to do everything all at once. Like if that's custom type, I don't have to do a string. I don't have to implement a JSON escape, and I don't have to implement the string format. It's just if I end up wanting to do that for whatever reason, then I can go ahead and use it because the array. I mean, yeah, in the arrays you don't have to have everything like with the no int example. You could just have functions that only apply to certain traits. So you don't have to implement all the traits if you don't need what they do for you. So
is that like the do or don't add a toString?
Yeah, so you don't have to do a toString if you don't plan to use it.
Yeah.
You'll get a compiler error, but you probably won't need it. and it's easy enough to implement. The no int on the resize, it's only on trivial types, but yeah, I didn't think that I didn't think to extend it, but you could extend it to like you can have traits to extend things in different ways, and I just
What,
didn't feel
what
the
I'm
need
looking
to.
at that one is just like a bug waiting to happen. There are very specific use cases where I want to shrink some pointer into some conceptual memory, and the tail is empty, dead, unused, and then oh no, it's not, and rebuild it back. I mean, for speed of implementation of every arenas on the planet, if you reset and go forward, they never zero behind them, so it's always you get the old data, but you actually want to semantically use it, then you have the wrong mental model, the wrong API structure. I have a
Oh,
pointer into an array and I'm moving it left, and then I want to reclaim and reuse the stuff to the right, and that's not the same thing as what you would get out of a normal vector or array list kind of behavior. Crazy enough, when I do register allocators and you're looking the hot inner loop of the coloring loop, and you're trying to reduce the graph by pulling people out and putting them in a sorted order. That's the order they came out, and then you have to put them back in order to color. So standard, everybody does this when they do a graph coloring. I end up with a structure that looks exactly like that. But I would claim that's a highly specialized use case. It's extremely narrowly, this is the one time I've ever done that. And AI, okay, so Jim says AI is clever enough to fix my Gradle in Kotlin. Gradle is all over Hashgraph. I hate Gradle. Um, I haven't tried that one, Jim. I have to try it now. I got my AI working just this week because I'm under WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux on Windows, and I had trouble getting the AI has to tunnel through to go to the other lands of where it has its comments digested.
Which tool
Have you
did you
tried?
try?
Aaron first.
Which tool did you try?
I grabbed Junie. It's the for very non-useful reasons. I grabbed Junie because it's IntelliJ's default, and everyone says it's a piece of crap. They claim they back onto all the normal things, and then the integration's kind of crappy. And in fact, the integration's relatively busted. It makes some good suggestions. I like them. I said apply, and it hangs. And then I say stop apply. I cut and paste, and it's done in seconds. Okay, so the integration there was a little wonky, but you have to read all these things, and he has suggestions, and some are good, and some are just a piece of crap. So that was fine. I grabbed Junie because between the ages of 3 and 5 or 6, my nickname was Junie. So it
It's
has
coming back.
no correlation. All right, Levo, you were going to say.
Just have you tried agents? Because I have not.
Junie's the first one I'm trying sort of seriously. I got Claude at Modular, and Claude was doing fine, and it was a little better integrated. But I had other issues with the Modular whole dev environment going on that Claude was not getting through. Whereas Hashgraph, it's a lot simpler on a bunch of those things. And maybe a better AI would give me a better answer, but I got good things out of Junie already in my 1 week. And maybe it's just my bar is too low. I need to set my bar higher.
I just looked it up. I had no idea it was an agent.
Junie?
Codex is really good. I've started using that a little bit. Junie's still convenient because it's like integrated to IDE,
Right.
but Codex is
And
doing
then
some more.
I think Hashgraph's going to buy a license for Claude Code. I think that's already up or will be up soon, and then I'll have to try and compare Claude Code to Junie.
So far, my best use case has been just using it for HTML and scripts because those aren't actually code. It can't really mess it up too hard.
I have a 2,500 line, 2,500 or 20,000. It's a big file for the new interpreter, and it's too big, and I wanted to break it up. So I asked, what's a good way to break this up? And they had some suggestions that were sensible, and so I did them. And the direct breakup it offered was not correct, but it was kind of close. So I had to hand manage it, and that was fine. He found an immediate bug. I had a typo in the XOR functionality on a multi-word XOR. Oh, okay, that was a good catch. He had a second kind of bug-like issue I fixed. Then he did some suggestions. I moved from a synchronized block free list to a thread local based on suggestions. Like, yeah, a little this, a little that. It's all fine.
Uh, Static analysis didn't find the typo?
Oh, I didn't run any static analysis. You mean you have a big expression of the multi-word XOR and the multi-word and an OR and a multiply and a divide and add, subtract, blah, blah, blah. You have all the math operators on 256. It's all multi-words things. There's a lot of these, plus there's a ton of other things. It's a giant file. And yeah, I had just a typoed an and sign instead of the hat for the XOR. I don't know what static analysis I would run to say, go find bugs, and it would pick that out.
I see, yeah.
You'd have to
You
say,
don't use find bugs?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You don't use find bugs?
I didn't. I don't have it access, but I don't think it would find any because it would have to have the correlation between this is a XOR handler and this is the AND handler and this is the OR handler. And then he would find, oh, here is multi-word math and here is, that seems like not what I remember find bugs looking for. Find bugs look for very specific patterns. A lot of them, the patterns were surprisingly effective in finding broken shit, but not deep.
The one that really earned find bugs respect in my mind was the rule of you opened an API endpoint, but you didn't actually specify who is allowed to access it.
Ah, okay.
Because we had all these, Finatra stuff that you'd say, okay, it must be a logged in user, or they must have an API token, or they must have a something. And we wrote a bunch
Right.
of find bugs rules that are like, if you ask for an API token, but you're returning HTML, what?
Ah, oh, interesting.
This thing returns HTML. It should probably be looking for a logged in user cookie. This thing
Yeah.
returns JSON. It should probably be looking for an API token.
Okay.
And that found bugs at Twitter all day long. Like a developer wrote that mistake every day.
Wow. Oh, you guys are all microservices,
I
and
mean,
so
there
you
were
had APIs
4,000
everywhere.
developers. You start seeing patterns if you look at the bugs that 4,000 developers write.
Right, right. I don't know what bugs the compiler writers write that you can find patterns on because there's like three compilers, right? There's LLVM, GCC, and then C2 is kind of hidden because no one sees it directly or hacks on it directly. People do, but not in great numbers. So the set of things that can be looked at is lower. Here's a funny thing I got out of this out of Junie that I was shocked. He did have good suggestions on cutting out allocations, and the current implementation, the old implementation of the interpreter has endless allocations, and they're very clearly the system's all very clearly bandwidth bound. So just every allocation you can reduce is going to be performance up. And I didn't put that in any hint anywhere, and he picked up on that and said, no, don't do these allocations. Like I have a fallback to big integer for when you're doing exponentiation on larger values. So in the junky tests and in these sort of normal crap code people write, if they're using exponent, it's because they want exponentiation in the byte codes for contract math. It's because they actually fucking want a shift kind of thing going on. And so they're just doing small integer exponentiations for stupid things. And I picked all those up manually. And
So
then
I'm
as soon as you do
curious,
something,
were you in the process of actively removing allocations when it started suggesting more of them?
no, I had done a bunch. I may have had a comment in the code saying something like, this is crazy. I'm just cutting out allocations here. But I
Yeah, so
don't
the one that
recall having
surprised me
that.
with Claude Code, one of the things Claude Code reads to get context on what suggestions you should be making is the git commit messages of
Oh,
the
those had
last
it.
12 git commits on your branch.
Yeah, those would have it. Not the
And
last
you're like,
12, but the
well,
last
what should I
20.
be suggesting this person do? Well, what is the person doing right now? So
Yeah,
if this commit
right.
that's like, hey, I removed an allocation, then it's like, oh, the thing you're doing right now is removing allocations. Would you like 8 more of those?
I made like 30 commits, but I made a PR. And then there's the PR history from main, and it's like 30. So you read, it's not a whole lot of text. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, reading the git commit messages on the branch is a surprisingly good way to get some context on what's going on in
Okay.
the developer's mind.
Yeah.
which I guess in theory was the point of the commit messages.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the high level summary from the human. Yeah. Makes total sense to me. Da-da-da.
Although my
Okay.
favorite
for long.
conversation I've had with the sales engineers at Claude was them talking about all the different search techniques that they've been trying to figure out how to pull the right pieces of code into context.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the baseline that they use to compare against is simply ask the agent to write a grep command, and they
Yes.
can't beat it. Like, they're doing all these funny, like, indexing and fuzzy
Right.
matching,
Right.
and it is almost impossible to get it to do better than just, oh, you want to find all the references to this variable?
Good grep.
Grep for that variable name. They are the
Yes.
references to the variable.
I will
Rip
say
grep
that.
is really good, but not everybody has it, so it defaults to grep. And on the Mac, it always defaults to non-working sed.
Non-working
Yeah, because the Mac has like BSD ancient crap because, they don't comply.
because it's
Um,
the yes.
so sed doesn't work like G sed.
But why? Oh God. Okay, fine.
And
Certainly
find
IntelliJ.
doesn't work the same either. Like the things that, Claude needs are basically half broken.
Interesting. So I'll add that the IntelliJ added the AI agent in for their search, and it's reliably, routinely worse than just fucking grep. The suggestions that come out of it when I'm just looking for something, they're always worse than grep. I switched to Emacs and hit the grep key, and it's better easily. And like stupidly better. I just can't believe that they would offer like you should have some negative things. There's a project over here in org Apache Commons, blah blah blah, that I've never used. It's not part of this project. Why are you suggesting that this word I'm looking for is in this project? It's not. What the hell? Get out of
So,
my
how did Bell
face.
Labs get so many of these tiny little Unix tools right? Like, there's a bunch of tools that came out of
Did
Bell
Bell,
Labs and GNU's
right. Did
reimplementation of
Bell
Bell
Labs get them
Labs
right or did
stuff.
Linus get them right?
Well,
Like
there
No,
And
was
Bell Labs got him right.
they're
Inferno,
written in 4 weeks by one person,
Plan
and
9.
No, no, no.
Plan
It
9
was
was
like
like major. And then Inferno kept it going a little while.
but
So
the set of geniuses at Bell Labs, right? They were all contributing these like, 2-letter name tools, and they kind of they drank the Kool-Aid of like, yeah, like it should just do one thing and do it well.
do it well. Yeah. Yeah. And that
right,
was a
but why
very
can't we
powerful
write
model.
tools now that do one thing and do it well?
We have too
I
much
think
memory.
Like when I
I
think
think
about, the stuff that has landed in the same mental space in my head as grep, there's JQ that I use regularly in order to process JSON.
Yeah, you're right
yeah,
about
I like that one.
Like, is there any other famous command line tool?
I end up with well, grab. They all end up in grab. I use find, but I pipe it through grab. And
But
variations
Fine's
on
also
echoes and
old.
cats, but they're
I'm
not
looking for a good command line tool that was written since the year 2000. Like,
right. More and less. Just it's actually less, not more. Right. That gets used a
SDK
lot.
awk.
SDK manager is about it.
Uh, uh.
I
The
mean, I've
Java
used kube
tools.
control. Kube control is not in the category with grep and JQ and awk.
Yeah, that's like the exact opposite. It's how can we shove a billion capabilities behind one name?
The AWS command line tool.
I just called Delta, which is basically a diff which has pretty good syntax highlighting. So that's a command line tool I would recommend.
So diff remains a potent command line tool, and then 1,000 people are still improving on diffs. So various improved diffs is good.
Z standard probably
Which one?
for Z standard
Oh,
compression. I mean, it's just an incrementally different gzip, but it's
yeah.
post 2000.
Is the
Oh, I
command
see.
line tool better than tar that I have to look up a flag every time I want to use?
Just a little.
I have like
Yeah,
three
something like that.
flags for tar memorized, and I'm good. No more. Yeah, tar is pretty. Yeah.
I barely remember. I got in the habit and then I kind of forgot it. I have like 2 commands I use for tar. But I did want to say that I have a UID and a GUID alias in Bash that I use often. It just gives me a unique ID that I just plug into code. And I have a string escape. So if I want to, I can copy paste text from a web page, use string escape on it to generate a C style string that I could just copy paste in my code. But I don't have that released, and there's not really
These are
flex you
not
can use on it.
right. These are your handwritten tools for you and what you do and how you do it,
Yeah.
as opposed to things that have gone mainstream and are widely available and widely used and written past 2000 and command line. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
I was just
only
thinking the
command
newer
line,
stuff just has different feels to it. Even things like Git and brew. They're
Yeah.
just a lot more complicated than the old school
Yes. And
tools
I
that came out
claim
of
at least for
Unix.
Git, it's like 90% not necessary. 95%, like I want like 3 things out of Git and 99% of the time. Then every now and then I need a Git expert to come help me step through some stupid thing that's going on. But there's push, pull, commit. I'm done. I mean, something like that is a really small set of things. And why the hell is this like
the,
1
the,
billion multi-brain mathematical things going on about how you whatever? I don't know. Git goes crazy, crazy.
the thing that gets me the most is how inconsistent the commands are. And just one last thing, the only other command line tool I can remember downloading and using was a QR code generator. Like I just pipe text into it and then it generates a QR code into the terminal, or I can just dump it as an image if I want that. But that's the only other command line tool I can think of using, and I don't really use command line tools too often since I typically use IDEs for stuff.
Okay. I end up with command line tools all the time that just
Even
minor
Git I use
helpers.
in VS Code.
Matt, I have not played with jujitsu. I've not seen it before. The last non-Git thing I played with was Perforce, which I relatively enjoyed.
It's interesting because you can just use it on top of your Git repository. So in a way, it's compatible. It does some interesting things, like it basically does commits by default. So every changes are recorded as you go automatically. It does things a little bit easier that are hard to do in Git. I had some good feelings
It
about that.
overlays over Git.
Sorry?
Oh, it overlays existing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
it
had
just
some
uses
good things
Git
about it.
as a
I haven't had
repository database.
I'd have to stare. I guess I'm carefully. I mean, I'm at work. I'm using whatever people work are doing, which is Git. And Simple and AA projects are using Git, but them I own completely and could have a better interface over if it made sense. Big picture here.
I tried using it. I found it was very slow.
They're very carefully claiming that it's going to be snappy, and you're saying it's very carefully not snappy.
Yeah, like they'd say, you can go roll back, edit this thing, and it all works. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it does, but in the background, it just chews away doing the commands. So if you do too much and you jump around too quickly, the backlog just gets too big and falls over.
Oh, interesting.
That was my experience with it.
One of the things that I really want, I have a weak version in Emacs that I would think I would do all the time, would be I have been hacking on this thing for a while, and I've done a bunch of commits, and it's moved a long ways, and I've come up some new bug that I've just discovered I didn't realize I had or whatever, and I want to, let's see, how do I stop share here? Damn you, Zoom. I want to,
Dash your changes.
yeah, I want to see the state of the file at different points in history, and I kind of know that I've been moving these around. I actually want a fucking slider that just walks me through the versions as I slide it back and forth because I'm rapidly scanning for this is the shape of the
IntelliJ
file
has
format.
a version of that, right? And it automatically puts labels like all tests passed, and you'll see like that is a major thing. Or I did a refactoring, and that becomes a major point in time.
Who does this? IntelliJ?
IntelliJ?
Okay, I have.
It's local change tracking outside of Git.
Yeah, I haven't found this.
Yeah, if you let's see, if you right click and there's right next to Git, there's local history, and you can drop labels when like I made it to an important point, but it kind of also knows as well, like, yeah, all tests passed. Probably want to record that event.
Interesting. Okay. All right, I'll take a look. I have interactions with Git with other people and other tooling because of other people, and so I don't use IntelliJ's built-in Git features at all.
Well, this is IntelliJ. It's not a Git aspect of IntelliJ. It's just its own local tracking, which just happens to work in addition to Git.
Emacs is kind of close. I can get the Git logs and then pick a log line and get the file and get it really quickly. And then I can diff the files, but that's kind of still a triple whack. And then I'm here, I'm looking at the diffs. I'm like, okay, it wasn't.
And it's also relying on the fact that you've submitted all those things, where the
Yeah.
the local history one in IntelliJ is just a constant log going on. But it only goes back so far, right? If you want to see where you were a month ago, probably not going to happen.
Oh no! Whenever I pull this trick out, I'm usually well more than a month. Because
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm talking about, this is like, it's
Gotcha.
good for today. Like, where was I an hour ago?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Longer history than
There's a
for that.
plugin for Emacs that does that. Pretty darn sure. I've seen it before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm faking it in Emacs now. You think there's a better tool? There might be an Emacs plugin for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
it
be
does. It does
But yeah.
local. It does Git like commits, every 20, 30 seconds and that sort of stuff. I've seen a guy use it a couple of years ago. As far as I'm aware, everything does it except for Visual Studio, which is the only one that goes, what you want? No. That's we're not gonna do the same thing that everyone else does. That's just too difficult. But it's in NetBeans as well, and IntelliJ.
NetBeans. I have not heard NetBeans in 20 years. What the hell has NetBeans come from? Isn't it like long dead?
I think the bean is a reference to
No,
Java.
it's still around. It's still there. It's still
You're
one
in
of my
Australia.
favorite IDEs.
Okay, fine.
Do you guys use
Just
Git
works.
hooks in personal projects?
I'm sorry, do you use what? Oh, Git hooks?
Git hooks. Git hooks.
And not in personal projects, no.
I
haven't.
use one that greps the diff for the string no commit. Because I often do this little hash no commit open paren, some reason I don't want to commit a thing yet because I'm doing a thing.
Because you're doing a thing. Yeah, right.
And I have a pre-commit hook that greps to say, hey, do I have the special token I put down to say don't commit this thing until I've remembered to undo this?
Interesting.
And it cancels the commit if I have it. That is the only pre-commit hook I tend to use.
That's a good one. My only pre-commit is if the commit message starts with a period, I don't run tests. If it does not start with a period, I run all the tests, and if it doesn't if it doesn't pass, then it doesn't commit. This way,
that's good, but you need to use exclamation point.
The reason why I do this is because I commit like 5 times a day, and sometimes if I might not notice something is broken for like weeks, and I want to do a bisect, and bisect doesn't work if you can't build. So I always need my stuff building and passing tests.
It should build. I mean, I have a minimum. It should build when I commit, or I'll say in the commit message, does not build. Like I'm hacking in the airport. I'm about to get on the plane. I want to push, and then deal later. And then I got to a home machine. I bring it down. I pull, and it comments clearly like,
But
okay,
yeah.
this is the crap I was at when I last lost connection. So
Richard Hipp, who maintains SQLite, complains like crazy that Git is a shockingly bad database.
yes,
Because frequently when he's debugging something, it's like, I've just received a bug report. The commit that introduced the thing that's in the bug report was 18 months ago. I look at the commit, I don't really know what the context is. So I want to ask this question, which is, hey, can you show me all of the commits to SQLite, no matter what branch it was on, that happened within 3 days before or 3 days after this one?
Sure.
You have to walk the entire tree.
Right.
Like,
I'm about to say, wait a second.
that is a query that is linear in the total number of commits to all branches in Git.
Ugh.
It
And
feels
it
like
is
the wrong question.
I kind of get where it's coming from, though. You're trying to get some context. Who
Yeah,
did
what was
this
I
and why'd they
doing?
do it? Yeah.
I've never had that question, but yeah, it's a tough one.
Have you ever received a bug report that was for a line of code that you introduced more than 6 months ago?
Oh, yeah.
I have no users, so no, I have
Yes.
not.
Like, there's a bunch of things you want out of version control that you only
but-
realize you want when you start getting
But I
stale
wasn't
bug
using
reports.
Git at Sun. I was using Code Mangler.
I have
It had
not
some
heard of
other
Code
official
Mangler.
name. We all called it Code Mangler. And you couldn't do that kind of search on Code Mangler. No. It was
Linux started on, what was it, Perforce before they switched to Git?
when I left
They had to
Sun
have been CVS.
and went to his old CVS. Yeah, it might have been CVS.
I know they
went to
had a
Azul,
commercial
my guy.
Bitbucket.
Or Subversion. There were a couple. Yeah, there
There were a couple floating around. Hotspot
Bitbucket was
not Subversion.
But eventually the community was like, we're not paying for a proprietary tool to maintain Linux. This hurts.
And we
well, there was the proprietary tool was like hosting them for free, but I think eventually Linus just got ticked off.
Yeah. And oh, look where we're at now. I have to say, Git is gone hugely viral and widespread, and everyone fucking uses it, and is extremely flexible and powerful, and also just it makes the easy thing, the daily normal things hard to do. And so that everyone
I'm
has to
guessing
wrap it in tooling to make it usable. And it just seems like
Yeah, I
something's
continue to be
not right
shocked
there.
that there isn't a startup that displaces Git with a new
It's been a long time.
open source version control, easy to use.
Right. And does the right shit the right way, but has to also have all the flexibility to do other things.
I mean, the people I knew who worked at Facebook were convinced that Mercurial, once Facebook managed to get all the scaling commits upstreamed, was going to take over the world, but it never
did. I talked to people at Sun about Mercurial, and they were like cursing and swearing and saying, no, it's a piece of shit. So
Oh, really?
different people had different opinions. I definitely talked to a Microsoft employee who was trying to convince me that we should put all of our passwords in Microsoft's password manager, and couldn't understand why the rest of the world wasn't just going to easily buy in on this. It was the obvious right thing to do. There was no problem with Microsoft being a single point of failure. And I just was like looking at him funny, like every one of these has always been hacked. 100% of them get hacked. How can you claim that you will never be hacked? This is just not sensible. Fine.
Any Windows users at the moment? Have we all switched off of it?
I'm the obvious Windows user.
I still use it for gaming. Don't like using it otherwise.
I use Windows for gaming and for coding. Fine.
I liked Windows
I only
2000.
use it at work.
2000. Okay. No, I'm on Windows 10, mid-level Windows 10, and have removed all of the obvious giant gaping holes in security by just deleting the
11's
things.
out.
And I'll never touch Windows 11. Way too much AI and spyware baked into the OS. Ads like I don't have Windows Store up on Windows 10 because just way too many fucking ads and shit. Just that crap. Like, come on, Microsoft. I want an OS.
What?
I don't want a shopping experience.
What, you don't want
Whatever.
tabs in your notepad, and you don't want AI in your notepad.
I don't want
No,
AI in
and
my
and you don't want the super key to take 30 seconds to bring up an application. No.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly, because it has to AI question things.
No, the
I
first time
don't.
I was doing start search, and my application, whose name I had typed the entire string for, was under the ad, and I was like, this is the start button.
Right,
What?
exactly. Why is there an ad? What the fuck, Windows? What kind of experience is that? So no.
Before all those ad stuff happened, I remember right-clicking on the Windows 11 desktop and seeing a loading text on the right-click menu.
Yes.
Why does the right-click menu have to load? I have
We
no
have to load
idea.
our graphics with alpha blending and merging and whatever, and get all the
It's
AI tools ready to leap upon your keystroke.
it's
I don't
really
know.
hard to write a windowing system. It's not like we've been doing it for the last 40 years.
Right. You'd think somebody would have done a little user interface testing here and realized. So
But
apparently Microsoft's learning that what they did with 11 was like stupid.
this is what we get when we get this common attitude that the performance optimization should be left for the last thing ever, as opposed to the key principle driver of the software design. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a consequence. It's a predictable consequence.
Yes.
I remember
It's actually
decades being told that by people who say that most optimization is premature optimization, and well, this is the software that we get with this type of evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so as someone who works on languages and compilers, how do you make it so people can focus on getting the UI right?
Operating systems and browsers. Yeah.
You know, I continue to be shocked by how little UX stuff is in the standard libraries of languages.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, I
You go
open
to a
Python.
separate.
SQLite is built into Python. I don't have to go fetch anything. They have decided that they're going to ship Python with SQLite because the
Right.
ability to store a database is so key.
Right. And that makes some sense.
But if I want to draw a
Java
pixel
baked
to
in.
the screen, I'm going to install like Pygame.
Right. And Java has the same problem.
QBasic had the
Everything.
ability to draw a pixel to the screen without importing stuff outside the standard
No,
library.
but
Why
the
doesn't
whole
Python?
JFX thing was such a lame. There wasn't a good default Java screen display GUI. Everyone
You don't
went to
like Swig?
different third-party libraries, and it never settled out to being this was the one obvious winner.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember seeing SDL at the time it was two, being more lightweight than some of the GUI libraries.
Still love Swing. That was what I was looking for, Ben. Swing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Swing's great out of like the bunch I've used. Swing's second best. Win32 is still the best one, I reckon. Like
I used
low
that one
level,
before.
Swing or
real
Win32?
Win32.
Win32.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I
so now
never got
I
deep
always
into
try.
that, and then eventually the one thing I did was React and not Angular. It was React and whatever other things. It was JavaScript based, and I had to do I had to do a browser version and both phone iMac and Android, and I had to have camera, and I had to have QR code reading, and I had to have Bluetooth, and I had to have Bluetooth signal strength for trilateration, which meant that I didn't take the standard Bluetooth connectivity. I had to go into the deep hooks. And I had to access a database, and I had to have some big data that I was doing charts and graphs and things with, and all these showed up on all the tools. And it worked. React worked. It was a little clunky, but not too bad. But you're very limited choices if you're trying to also get phone and camera and also Bluetooth and also all the hardware bits. Swing was just screen. And
There's
not
a
enough
surprising
options.
amount in SDL.
Oh, I need a mouse for sure. Say again, an SDL. What would you say SDL again? What is the acronym?
Yeah, simple direct media layer, SDL. This is what it has a backends for Vulkan, OpenGL, DirectX, and
Gotcha.
Metal. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure I've seen it in the past, but I've never used it. Yeah. All right, we have to go to
It's like
bed
a good
soon
API.
because Theodore's gonna fall asleep on us.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I'm watching you yawn over there. Okay, I know it's the wrong time of year, time of day, whatever. Fine. Um, Anyone else? We're just kind of rambling here. I might wrap
Yeah,
it up.
it does sound like the consensus has somewhat changed in the past year from writing code with ChatGPT is a thing to be laughed at to writing code with Claude Code and Copilot and what's the
Right.
open AI one?
But
Codex?
the point is,
These
there's
things have gone from
Yeah.
comedy to
Comedy.
useful tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting useful tool now. Yep. Yes, and you're right. 2 years ago it was comedy and very much comedy.
Oh, I miss GPT-3 before the chat. That was spectacular.
I'm certain you can go find it, right? GPT-3? Like, isn't there going to be somebody's running one of those, or you get a model
Well,
downloaded?
all models really are. It's like, you run a completion. That's it. There's no, monologue.
So you're saying you don't want it being an assistant, you want it being just a straight next token predictor.
Sure, yeah. It picks up right on, right where you leave off with your thesis.
Just like what autocorrect.
keeps
My
going.
recommendation, if you want to play with that, is go grab Quen's open source foundation model that has not yet been trained to be an assistant and run it locally on your computer with Olama and see if you find useful use cases.
Okay, yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if most of the CLI tools are becoming built-in IDE things because there's a lot of IDE extensions now.
If I had a button that I would tell IntelliJ to use grep instead of his AI search, I would have set it. There surely has to be a setting. I can't find it.
I might have you covered one day. I don't know when, but yeah.
I was going to say, what is your progress on your editor? I feel like we haven't gotten a report in a while.
I thought we were just, that was this code. Yeah. Yeah. You had a pretty good setup going.
Yeah, I can give like a little explanation of what happened. So originally when I wrote it, it was a prototype, and I knew it was going to be a prototype, and now I was eventually going to throw it away. My mistake was I kept working on it for a year, knowing it's a prototype. Yeah.
This is the history of all major projects that take over the world. It's a prototype. I'm going to throw it away. 6 years later, it's like mainstream, and God, this sucks. And why did you write this crappy code this way? And what a horrific programmer you must have been.
So I hate locks, and I had a bunch of them in there. I had no async. Like there was some communication with threads, but I didn't really have like proper async messaging going back and forth. I wasn't sure how to represent that stuff, and like sending messages to the LSP and DApp, and then receiving it, and then having it not be a big switch statements. Like I wasn't sure how to do that either, and basically I was just trying to figure out like how far I can take it without rewriting everything, just because like I wanted it in the hands of people, but if I rewrite everything, it's not going to happen. So, but in the end, I couldn't.
But you're able to use it as your daily editor?
No, because there's just too many little things that I wanted, and like to implement it, I would have to step around a lot of bugs. So I just figured, it's about time to like start over.
Yeah. That's how JEdit started, and then it became factor language. Interesting.
It went from an editor to a language.
Yeah, it's Slava Pestov. I think he works with different stuff, but he started in Java with JEdit, and then started a language concatenative factor, and brought the editor along, and like the entire community, was focused on factor inside the editor. So it was fully dog-fooded language.
It becomes the IDE of choice. But you started with Java to write the editor in.
That's where he started his journey, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what's become of it.
No.
So I think there's a lot of power in letting a project and a language grow up together.
Yes.
If you're
You have to
writing
have
your
somebody
language
using
and
it.
saying, this is my editor that's in my new language, and I'm going to add whatever new features I need in the language in order to enable the project.
You have to use it daily and have several people use it daily, and then be able to they each can continuously upgrade, and you kind of come to a
But I somehow
consensus
suspect that
among
Cliff
each
is
other.
not going to implement Hedera's new VM in AA.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Or is the pity.
Yeah.
So
Did we
about go ahead.
go ahead, Leo, go. I was about
It's,
to ask, did we cover simple progress? Do we have progress?
No, I can do it shortly because I only worked on it for a few hours
Yeah.
last weekend, and I'm going to work a few hours this weekend.
Uh,
I am still at the spot where, well, I've redone the class constructor, file constructor, new instance constructors so that they're all consistent with the design goal I have. The limit is if you just write code in a file, you don't have to say class main or
yeah.
I have a class this or that. You just write printf quoted string. That's valid code. It goes in the constructor who's in the class that is the name of the file and will be executed by default if you just run that file as if you were calling main. Instead, you just have to call main, it just runs the constructor. So a single line of code just thrown in a file is a valid, simple program that will just execute directly, but it has semantics in the larger context where you have multiple classes and you have modules and whatever. So that got redone last weekend and is squared away, I think. It's been working on for a couple weeks because I only do it on the weekend, so it's pretty good shape.
Do you have any concept in simple of a main or?
That is the concept of a main. When you fire off, you're going to
So the entry point is just top-down execution of the file that you passed in.
yes, of
Like a
the
scripting
main
language.
file you've declared main. But every individual file can be top-down executed that way. So you pick which one you're going to be as the main, and I can arrange for that, or the linker can easily arrange for that to be the first one, and then from there it's top down, just classes executed as the main thing, and then
So what was in
So
the
the-
end? The file name implicitly defines the class, the module in
Yeah.
which the code will be executed.
so the file name with some restrictions to keep it portable will be the class name, and then everything in there will be a nested class. And with it parallel to the file name with simple, you can have a directory of the same name, and then more things in there will be subclasses
Is
of
it
the main
akin?
class.
Was it akin to a singleton instance of the file name, the class file name? Is it?
Say that again, I missed the starting.
Is it the singleton instance of the file name, which is the class? The file name X implicitly defines a class X, but the file is implicitly a single instance of the class X.
Not an instance of the class X. It's
That's
okay.
what
Carefully with our
because
names here.
yeah, okay, because you won't be able to refer to the constants inside the class without instantiating an instance.
You get a class instance. It's just like a
Yeah.
Java class
Yeah.
class itself, as
Yeah.
opposed to an instance of the class. So there's a class object you get for the file.
Yeah.
And if you in that file you have a constructor, you get normal instances.
Instance, yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a constructor, you always get the class object as an instance, and that has all your static globals.
Yeah, the static ones, yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant by singleton instance, single instance of the class, so you can refer the constants inside it, the static ones. Yeah. Okay, cool. Someone asked the question.
You guys ready to hear about the rewrite? Because that's a whole story.
Make it short so we can go get lunch. But yeah.
Okay. So when I did about 10 months ago, I started the rewrite, and so when you're trying to get something on screen and having something in demo, that's one thing. But when you're trying to implement everything and not have bugs, it's a totally different structure, totally different problem. And since I knew what the hard parts were, I started doing the stuff that had nothing to do with the UI and the stuff I already understood, because to me that was done. And I just wanted to work on the stuff I didn't understand, which was async. Async is pretty annoying because I mentioned this before, but there's no async open on most OSs. I think it's just the IOU ring on Linux, and that might be it. So you have to I had to write like a create thread, and then message passing and workers, and I had to write like a lot of code. So that's one thing, and I wanted like a reasonable async library to use. So there's some experimenting to figure out how to make it reasonable. And then the other problem was Microsoft's LSP is freaking insane. Like, there's so many places where they say this is an ID, which is an int, but it might be a string, and you don't know which one it is. And so you can think, no problem, I'll just make a string. That's fine. But then there's other places, it's like, here's an array of objects. I'm not going to tell you what objects there is. It's just going to be a bunch of them with overlapping like names. And you have to guess which one it is by iterating it on a per object basis, checking the names of all the valid objects it can be, and then figuring out what it is at the end of it. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. And I actually wrote some code to generate DAP and ALSP. And it turned out for LSP, it was just a tiny fraction, and it was not the fraction I was interested in. So I should have grabbed my original LSP code, but whatever, I generated a significant LSP, and I generated a significant amount of DAP code. So that part's done, I guess. But I'm going to have to go back to it because, I actually have to get debuggers to work, because even though I can interact with the DAP, I still need to put a layer on top of it so I can say, get me all the local variables, and then not write the DAP and GDB specific code. I just want to say, get me the variables in a debugger object, and not have my calling code to have both cases every single time I want to do that. So I just need like a layer to wrap them. I actually I have a devlog that I write down what I do every month. I haven't looked at it recently because when you're working on stuff, you don't want to pay attention to what you did last month. But yeah, there's most of the time is actually spent on LSPs, because if I'm inserting text into the your text file, I have to provide a change set to the LSP, and it wants things to be UTF-16, even though my entire thing is working on UTF-8, and it wants to know the length of it in UTF-16. So I can't just do byte offsets. I can't use the count of characters. I have to figure out UFT-16 a width of some text. So yeah. I knew the first, when I wrote the prototype, I knew that text editing was actually the biggest pain in the butt, because I wanted it to be fast for rendering, and
you fought with fonts for 3 months. I remember that.
Oh yeah. No, the font code I just copy pasted. That was no problem. I didn't even touch that. So that was great. The GDB also I copy pasted, and the fine code copy paste. Those were just work that was great. So I have multi-cursor, so that's one thing. I'm actually doing metadata support. So if you have if you're trying to balance parentheses, it knows where it is on the other end, even if it's separated by 100 megabytes. I have a test that's a gigabyte. See if it can tell the difference. Yeah. I didn't implement the jumping part yet, but that's actually what I want to do next week. So the metadata part is actually a pain too, because I'm writing it normally in one way, and then I'm writing the SIMD version, and then since you're injecting text all over the place, you have to make sure it's all in sync. So basically the problem is caching. How do I cache it? Not exactly cache, but it's I have to invalidate some data. And
there's a type performance constraint in any editor, and that turns into
naming and cache invalidation.
Yeah. So the problem in the prototype was fonts. The problem right now in this rewrite is LSP. and then text editing because of all the caching validation. So yeah, and the
Totally.
metadata that's around it. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up here and go get my life moving on and hack on Simple this weekend.
That should be nice.
Okay, cool. Fun for me. I learned some stuff, that's for sure. I guess we'll see each other again next week.
Yeah. See you
All
guys.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.